Good morning, guys. How are you? Listen, I have red lips on today, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but good morning to you. Oh, my hands feel dry. It is cold here. Very, very cold. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, who has joined us? Welcome to Coffee with Kathy. Who is here? Laura. Good morning to you. Let me go ahead and bring you in. Yeah, hold on a second. Let me swipe. Okay. Let me see. For some reason, Laura, I don't see an add button beside your name. That's interesting. Oh, here it is. There we go. All right. Come on in, girl. Come on in. Come on down. While we're waiting for Laura to come, two things. First of all, red lips. Now, the reason I did this is because I'm not a fan of lip gloss. I've just never been a fan of lip gloss. But what I did this morning, based on a tip that I read, is I went ahead and put our Minerals Foundation. Okay, let me see. Add guest. You know what, Laura? Let me uninvite you and try you again because it tells me that I'm invite. Oh, here we go.
Hi.
There. All right. I don't know what happened. Can you hear me okay?
I can now.
Perfect, and I can hear you.
Good.
So, Laura, while we're waiting for everybody to get into their seats, good morning, April. Good morning, Tammy and Mary. So I wanted to tell you two tips, and these are not anything to do with fundraisers. But so I told you earlier, I mentioned that I'm not a fan of lip gloss just because I'm not a fan of shiny. I know I like the bright, shiny objects type of thing. I'm always distracted, but I'm not a fan of shiny lip gloss. So what I did this morning is I put Minerals Foundation, when I was putting it on my face, I put it over my lips. And they had, of course, a matte finish. And then I put the lip gloss on, and look at, it's pretty, it's pretty matte finish. And I used our lip brush, so I was able to use it as a lip liner and stuff like that. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is, a lot of times after I put my foundation, my Minerals Foundation on, then I put my blush on, it is a little bit, too cheeky, red cheeky looking, even though I use, what do I use? Oh my gosh, I forget which one I use. It's my favorite. But anyway, so what I decided to do, guys, is the first thing I did is I put my blush on. Then I put my Minerals Foundation. So it still looks a little bit pinky just because I think it was done in a hurry. But that might be a tip that you guys, hibiscus, that's what I use, hibiscus. But you guys might want to try those two tips. So put your blush on first, then put your foundation over it, and it just seemed to soften the look a little bit. So anyway, those are two tips for you this morning, and you can see it's calling for snow today, so I have my snow sweater on. Laura, what's the temperature there?
I'm not even sure.
Is it cold?
It's cold. It was in the 30s last few days, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Remind everybody where you live.
Okay. I live in Central Illinois. Pretty much exact Central Illinois. So that's.
I love Chicago. Oh my gosh, it's my favorite city.
Yes.
Do you go into Chicago?
Yeah,
Do you go
we went
downtown?
there for anniversary.
Oh my gosh, that's where Pampered Chef's headquarters were. So we would always take the L train down there. We went to the American Girl doll store because it was just like you have to go there even if you're not shopping
Yeah.
for anything, you had to go there. And then the streets at night, I don't know if you guys that are watching know this, but at night they sweep all the streets. It is the cleanest city ever.
It is.
You get up the next morning and you're like, oh my goodness, everything is swept out. It's just beautiful. If you get a chance to go, guys, you want to go. I mean, I love New York. However, Chicago is just, I don't know, it's a different type of city. Don't you think, Laura?
It is. And if you ever want a great shopping experience, Michigan Avenue.
Oh my gosh, that's it. Michigan Avenue. I mean, yeah. And we would walk it from start to finish. We would walk the whole thing. That's where I got introduced to the popcorn. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing the famous popcorn. Anyway, I'm drawing a blank, and I should know it because I buy it for gifts all the time. And somebody will post it here, I'm sure, in a minute.
And there's constantly a line on the outside. Always when they're open, there's constantly a line on the outside of that store.
Yes, I mean what do you remember the name of the popcorn?
I do not.
Yeah, and whenever I fly and I make a connection in the Chicago airport, I'm always running to that popcorn place. So yeah, it's wonderful. All right, so welcome guys to today's call. Is still training on 2018 and beyond, because as we talked about a little bit earlier in one of my trainings, I think fundraisers, it's a way for you to step out and get a signature attached to yourself as your brand that you give back to the community. And a lot of times when we think of fundraisers, we think of organizations. Now, again, absolutely, organizations are things that you want to, gravitate towards because they are always looking for help. Certain ones are always looking for help. My suggestion is, we're going to be doing a fundraiser once a month. So we're going to try as a group, as a team, to do a fundraiser once a month. So my suggestion is you go to your, you Google nonprofit organizations in your area, or go to your Chamber of Commerce, and a lot of times they will have a connection for a nonprofit organization book, where you can download it or you can go pick it up. And that's actually when I was with Pampered Chef and I moved my business the very first time from Maryland to Oklahoma, I knew no one. And I had taken a training class, and they suggested that I head to my Chamber of Commerce and look at all the activities of events that were going on in that city to see what I could do to set up my business. So I happened to stumble across a nonprofit organization book, and and I contacted Big Brothers Big Sisters and said, you know what, I'm with Pampered Chef, and I'd love to be able to help you raise funds. Are you looking for any additional funds at this time of year? And they jumped right on it. And we did the party at my house. 18 people showed up because I invited my neighbors, because my neighbors, not knowing me, they knew the organization. So they came just to support the organization. And by the way, they wanted to meet the new neighbor, and they wanted to see each other. So I happened to just pick Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It was so successful. I actually signed the director of Big Brothers Big Sister as a consultant, and she is still there to this day as a leader in Pampered Chef. And she kept the business strong. When I left, I gave her all my customers and things. So so you never know what happens, the domino effect, by you reaching out and being a blessing to someone. However, today, what I thought that I do is focus a little bit on giving back to an individual or a family. And I've done several, fundraisers with individuals that were starting to adopt. And what I found interesting is when you look at a fundraiser, and especially when you're looking at an individual, or even, let's say a church that provides a daycare, a kindergarten, sometimes churches have pre-K, classes. So sometimes they're looking for ways to upgrade their rooms, their classrooms, or to upgrade the outside, swing sets and things like that. Again, I'm telling you this because these are the experiences I've had. Well, sometimes they look at what their goal is. Like, for this one family in particular here in North Carolina, they were looking at $25,000 to adopt. And I said, you know, that's a bit much for someone to really, you know, for your friends to be able to even fathom making that kind of, you know, contribution or even chipping away at it. So let's look at, are there any parts along the way that you have to, you know, pay for before you can go to the next level? And they're like, well, yeah, the first thing is their home study. And their home study was, I'm going to say $2,500. So what we did is we took that $2,500 and we looked at how many friends she was wanting to have her join. Now notice the word I used, not contribute. Her friends were joining her journey. And that's one of the things I'm going to encourage you guys to do. Don't use the word, you know, help me raise funds, you know, join the, you know, help contribute or help join us. So we looked at a group of friends, and she had like 25 friends that she knew personally would love to be part of this. So we took that 2,500 and we divided it by those 25 friends, and we gave them a goal. So the goal was to have so much per family or friends to contribute. And guys, it was so successful. And Laura has a great idea to go beyond that goal. You know, she's going to share that idea. But what it allowed us to do is create chunks of contributions, joining contributions per person. So that's an idea, that's a suggestion or a mixed suggestion. It's something you want to do when you're looking at a goal, is break it down by a reasonable goal and then just divide it by the amount of families or friends. Now, again, we're talking about individuals because that's what Laura's training is today, her sharing. And there are people out there, listen, there are families out there that if you are connected in a church, you know that there are families in that church in need. So, you know, those are ways that you uncover that type of a fundraiser. Don't get hung up on the fact that it's called a fundraiser, thinking it's only an organization. It's a way of contributing and helping others go back to a normal way of life when something has occurred that they need financial help with. So Laura, tell us, I'm going to get my notes from the call we took the other day, and tell us how you got, how did you find out about this family? Because Laura had a family that they were supporting with this fundraiser. And Laura, how did you find out about the family?
The family is actually the wife is a cousin of mine. So I know who she is and stuff. So she's a
cousin of yours. I'm sorry. Okay, so she was a family member of yours. She was a cousin of yours. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And go ahead.
Yeah, I grew up with her. She's a cousin of mine, and so I've been keeping in touch with them through this whole journey.
So tell the listeners what happened. What was their need?
Okay. When she was between 25 and 26 weeks pregnant, she had an ultrasound done, and they discovered that the baby has what they call, as we understand it, short jaw syndrome, where the jaw is set back, the tongue is back, and so if the baby would swallow, it would suffocate. So she was flown to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and she was put on bed rest there. And then about 35 weeks or so, they took the baby, and took her right away, and they had to put a trach in, and that is how she breathes and everything. She has a feeding tube, a G tube, and so they were there for from beginning to the end of that journey was a little over 4 months.
And tell them, share about the cost associated with that.
It's a little over $700,000.
$700,000, and there's still I'm sure costs associated with what they're experiencing now.
Yes.
So you when you heard about this, what steps did you take? What made made you think about a fundraiser?
I actually went through a little bit of a journey over a year ago myself, with a daughter being born with Down syndrome and spending time in the hospital. And I was just so thankful for all the donations that were given to us in that time. And so I've always wanted to help someone else out. And this was a way for me paying it forward. And so that was, yeah, where I got my idea.
Uh, and now when you went through this, and I didn't realize that, and I just, you know, and again, I'm so inspired by you just for what you did with this family, and now I'm even more inspired by you. So your idea through this fundraiser was not because someone did a fundraiser for you. It was the fact that other individuals contributed from a financial donation for you, and then you knew that how that experience changed your life. You wanted to do something for this family, for your cousin.
Yes.
So you just thought about Lemongrass Spa as a fundraiser,
Why
right?
not?
Yeah, yeah. And walk us through the journey of when you started it, how, you know, and I can fill in the gaps if there are things that I want to point out to our team here. But you started it on November 1st.
Yes.
And tell a little bit about who you had decided to involve in this fundraiser before you even started it. What are some of the planning things that you put in place leading up to the start?
Okay. I actually, thanks to my upline Priscilla and Cindy, they gave me some ideas too. But I actually went and talked to the family, and because I wanted to make sure it's like something they would be okay with, and also products that they could use. Because I did set this up as a party, but I pretty much spent a lot of time doing that. I asked them to write their story. I made sure I got that printed up. I actually gave them a choice of using the whole catalog, or I could use a few items. They chose the whole catalog, so people could do that way. And then I actually just went through and I spent time just going through the whole catalog and talking about the products, sharing testimonies about the products from my customers and myself, and yeah, just all the way through. And
tell them how you did that. Because listen, guys, this is going to blow your mind, and I'm not recommending you do this, but this is this is the heart, this is the gift that Laura gave, in addition to all the other, you know, orchestrating and the pieces, putting together. Listen to the gift that she gave this family when she says, I talked about the products. Now remember, she used the whole catalog because that's what the family had asked for. And I'm gonna just stop just for a second. Talking to the family, getting their understanding of what Lemongrass Spa is like as a company, I think that is huge. You tell Heidi's story, you give a backdrop so they truly feel their journey is being shared with strangers by a company that cares. And I think that's one thing that we might be missing at times with fundraisers. So sometimes if you have a chance to get in front of a group of people, that's the perfect way to do it when you're doing an organization. In fact, it's really the only way you should do it, be kicking off the fundraiser. However, with a family or an individual that's part of a family, meeting with them, and if it's long distance, do video chat. But I think it's important that they understand about our company, and then they move forward with a similar connection that we have as consultants. So she talked to the family, gave them a choice, and of course the full catalog was what they wanted. And she found out some of their needs as far as their products, and that's important also when you're working with an individual. So you say, you know, I told the story. Tell them how you told the story. It's amazing.
That's okay. I actually started the front page, and I took each product, and I wrote a little bit something about each product. And yeah, and if I had a testimony to go with it, I would share that with it too. So that's how I did from point A to point B. Keep in mind, this is an Amish community. So that is why I am reaching out different than I would in normal communities. So.
Right. Yeah. No, because there's not a lot of ways to electronically or socially to meet that.
No.
And again, but Laura, you recognize that this was something that was not going to be considered the norm, not that they're abnormal, but the norm.
Yeah.
And you took the necessary steps and time invested into it to write that up. Now, when you wrote it up, did each, and I'm not sure if I understood this before, so I apologize if I asked you this before, did you have those write-ups inserted in the catalog in each page, or did you include it just as an attachment that they could read through?
I had just as an attachment that they could read through.
Okay. Yeah. Good. All right. So so you wanted to make sure that they were able to learn about the products from from the way you would talk to them, and then writing up a testimony of customers gives them an opportunity to say, and you don't have to only listen to me because I'm the consultant. Here's some testimonies. So for those of you that are sharing the products, really anytime, customer testimonies are huge. And there were some products that you knew without you describing them, they would never purchase.
Yes.
And that's why you felt like you needed to be able to share those clips, if you will, of those products. Okay, so who did tell them about how these catalogs? Tell them about the community that this information went out to.
Okay, we live in the center of a really large Amish community, and since the family was Amish, that is also who I opened the fundraiser to, and a few other people too had an option too. But what I did was I created had a folder, and I had the list of the paper of their story. I had introduced myself, made sure they had my number, anything they needed questions. I made sure I opened that up to it, and I had these papers of the list of the products and their testimonies in there, and yeah, I just made sure they had everything. I made sure there's a catalog in there, and they had a holiday catalog too. So.
And who did this? So it was a packet that you created.
Packet.
A packet. And who did the packets go to?
There are 30 different Amish churches, and I delivered 2 packets to each church, and then someone from that church was responsible to make sure that these packets came around through the whole church and back to a picking up point by the 28th of November.
So I'm sitting there as I'm writing my notes as I'm talking to Laura. I'm like, wait a minute. So an entire church only got 2 packets, which means they got 2 catalogs and that information document about the products for an entire church. 2 packets for an entire church times 30. So again, what you're hearing is it's a community, and yes, it's the Amish. You're like, well, Kathy, it's because they're Amish. There are so many churches that have formed these type of communities that it's how they support each other. It doesn't matter what denomination it is. That's why I'm going to encourage you guys to look inside your church, inside individuals that have churches. I mean, if you don't ask, it's always a no. So yes, this was Laura's cousin, but it could have been anyone that Laura found out about, that she decided to be the champion of this fundraiser to be able to support this family's financial needs. Now, what I found interesting is that person that you asked to be responsible, and I'm sure you must have asked if they would be that responsible person, because that was a job for them. That mean, here's the packet, get it back to me today. She had to do that kind of coordination, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And Laura kept track of the packets that were sent out. She kept track of the packets as they came back, as checking off that church was they were responsible. They were done. She said, okay, got it from this church. So she kept track of it because Laura, you had told me that out of the 30 packets, you still were looking for, there were still a couple packets left out there, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I actually am closing the rest of those today. So.
Yeah. So again, so Laura didn't let it go, saying, well, they might not be interested. She kept track of, because she had a point of contact. She kept track of it. So so that 7,000 wasn't the done deal. That 7,000 wasn't the finished. That wasn't the bottom line.
No. Because
tell them what else you did, as far as letting everybody know, if you don't want, if you're not interested in these products, totally get it. Tell them what else you suggested.
I also opened up for donations outside of ordering. So
yes. So all in all, how much do you think this family is going to be receiving as of today? Just your estimate.
Estimate. I am a little over $10,000, around $10,300 is where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Over $10,000, because a lot of individuals that can identify with the reason that this fundraiser was actually, brought about. There are a lot of individuals that they've either had a family member or they've experienced themselves. And you know what? A lot of people do want to donate.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's them being attached to something that they can identify versus, and again, I'm not trying to take away from, the individuals, like, I support Raleigh Rescue Mission, food and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because it's my local rescue mission. If I were asked to support something in another town, I may not feel as led to do that. So when you are in your community, when you start in community to look for fundraisers, the way to start is by reaching out to your connections, your friends, and you letting them know that each month you are going to be donating your commission to, a fundraiser, and you'd like to start looking first at home.
Mm-hmm.
And home means, yes, a local organization, but it also means families and individuals. And if your antenna, if you're very intentional about this and your antenna is up, you will be tripping over opportunities when you least expect them, because that's the blessing that's going to come back to you in the way of, oh my goodness, if you're looking, I'm going to supply you with it. And I truly believe that will happen. Now, the other thing that we talked about was that you gave, we talked about giving 10%. We talked about going back and circling back to those that ordered, and giving them, some type of a, thank you, 10% off your next order. So you as a consultant have a way of supporting somebody that has spent money on our product line.
Yes.
So they know this is something that it wasn't just a one-time, I bought this just because, it wasn't like the gift wrap. I bought it because I'm supporting my grandson's fundraiser at school. Mm-hmm. You really want to start being able to support the customers to see what other opportunities our product line can help, whether when they're running low, they love it, they're going to replace it, or and sharing even more of the products that we offer for other parts of their lives or their families' lives, mm-hmm. right?
Yes.
So we had talked about that. Now, did you do anything with booking cash? I've got this in my notes, but did we do anything with bookings? Okay.
Anyone that would like to wanted to book a party, I also within the next few months, I opened it up. If everybody books a party, then this family would also get $15 credit once they host that party.
Great. Yep. And then did you? And then we talked about, we talked about making sure we have a follow-up to remind them that the booking credit, because the family's going to get the $15, reminding them it's, you know, you've got 30 more days to redeem that booking credit to give the family this cash. And again, guys, this is not a pushy conversation with them at all. People are busy. So if Laura doesn't go back and say, just want to let you know, this at the end of February, the booking credit will expire. I'd love to be able to treat you and your friends to, a skincare class or an essential oil class, whatever their interest might be in our product line. So it's a reminder to let them know that time's running out. And if they want to bless the family one more time, this is the way you could do it, correct?
Yes.
Yes. The other thing, guys, that I had recommended to Laura is with the Pampered Chef, we always did, and this might be something you guys might want to consider with really a fundraiser that you are running, and yet you want to notify your customers that have nothing to do with that fundraiser that you are running a fundraiser. Would they like to support it by rounding up? Now, this might be a new concept to you, but at Pampered Chef, we did something called Round Up from the Heart. So if somebody were to look at their order form at Pampered Chef, there was a heart there. And it would remind us as consultants to say, would you like to round up your order? It's $59.60. If you round it up to $60, it would always be rounding up to the next dollar. So if it were $53.60, we would round it up to $54. And we would say that change will go to our local food bank. And it was a food bank in the local food bank of which I was doing a party. So whatever town I was in doing a party, their food bank would be benefited by that extra roundup change. You could absolutely do something like that when you're doing a fundraiser, because with your customers that are not participating in that fundraiser, because two things happen. They're like, oh my gosh, sure, round up my order. I mean, it's so easy for them to go that extra change, those little extra dimes and quarters and stuff like that. And the other thing it does, if somebody is writing a check, which isn't used very often, so I'm dating myself, they like the fact that there's 2 zeros in their checkbook, that there's not that 63 cents. So, my suggestion is, and I'll remind you of this again when you guys are getting ready to really start working on a fundraiser, that, your customers that are not part of that fundraiser, they're just, part of a party, you in that Facebook party, at that in-home party, you can say, by the way, I'm supporting a fundraiser. We're helping a family with part of her adoption. So if you'd like to round up your order tonight, we'll take that change and it'll go to that to that organization or to that family, whatever. It's just a way of always being in the front of your mind that you are thinking fundraisers, because then what would happen when you announce it in your Facebook party or your in-home party, you've announced that you do fundraisers. And listen, guys, how many of you announce that you do fundraisers? We don't. We don't even say that we do fundraisers. So that's another thing that as we work on training on fundraisers, I'm going to make sure, just like I want you guys to notify everyone that you have a customer, a community group, would you like to be part of it? You've got to always say it, always say it, always say it. I really think we need to say, by the way, we offer fundraisers. Is there anyone you can think of that might want some information about a lemongrass spa fundraisers? Listen, guys, one of the beauties of fundraisers that we do, unlike an organization that is a professional fundraiser, is people are buying our products anyway. So when you call your friend or your customer, to say, are you running low on anything? Because I'm doing a fundraiser, and if you'd like to refill anything you're running low on, I'm going to be able to put your order towards that fundraiser. If you always have a fundraiser open every month, you're going to want to call your customers to see if they're running low, because you're going to want to support that fundraiser. And your customers hearing you say, I'm supporting this organization or this family by doing a fundraiser, what do you think she feels about you as her consultant because you are doing fundraisers? I mean, it sets you to a level where you're no longer just selling. You are supporting others through fundraising efforts. And again, it doesn't always have to be an organization. If it is, it's wonderful because it should be something that's local. But if it's a family, that just speaks volumes to everybody, you know, that this is what you're doing. Yeah. So and the other thing I loved about what Laura did is she got a list. I have it in my notes. You got a list of church members.
No, they did that themselves.
Oh, well, you do have a list of them, though.
Yes, I do.
So now when you told me you had a list of church members, are they the ones that ordered, or just you have a list of church members?
They're the ones that ordered.
Okay, so now think about this. Approximately how many orders do you have? No, I'm going to rephrase that. How many customers do you have now in your funnel for you to be able to support from now into the future?
A little over 200.
A little over 200 new customers. And listen, we know that when and you did a direct ship, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Now, direct ship is smart. It's very smart. However, if you are working with a church, and you know what, guys, churches have mission trips they send their kids on. They do the Krispy Kreme donuts. Are you kidding me? Are you really going to support a bad habit of eating Krispy Kreme donuts to raise money? But, you know, I digress. However, if you look, every church has some type, they have a MOPS group. They have, they do nursing home support. There are so many, you know, fundraising things going on in a church that you just have to find out if you're not part of that church, is your friend part of that church? And will your friend introduce you to someone that is the fundraiser organizer? Because she is looking for ways to do this without always using the same fundraising person, organization, professional organization all the time. The beauty of it is, like I said, they're buying our products anyway. We're not increasing the price. All those gift wraps, and I'm not bashing professional organizations, the fundraising organizations, I'm telling you the truth. When you buy a gift wrap from there, it's not any different than the gift wrap you'll get at Big Lots that you pay 2 or 3 times the amount. That's how organizations that are professional fundraising organizations can give 50% back. Laura gave her entire commission.
Yes, I gave her.
So she gave her entire commission. And I said to Laura, so did you use the host credits? And Laura said, no, I gave her the host credits too. So, oh my goodness, she not only got the cash, she got to choose the products that her and her family needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How amazing was that, right?
It was amazing. It was fun.
It had to be fun. Now, you know, going back to the direct ship, when I've done fundraisers in the past, I went ahead and had it shipped to the church. I went to the church and we opened up blocks of windows where people could come to pick up their orders. Listen, it was fun. I did not mind at all going to that church, putting the orders together, and being there in person as people came to pick up their orders. I loved it. I loved meeting the people and seeing their faces as they picked up their orders. We did it 2 blocks a time, maybe Saturday afternoon from 9 to 11 and maybe Saturday evening from 5 to 7. And then people came to the church and picked them the orders up. It was fabulous. Mm-hmm. But now that we have a direct ship option, you can certainly do that also. All right, so I am going to see what questions we have, comments, etc. And there's a couple other things I want to wrap up with. But Laura, anything else that you want to share with them that I did not bring out?
I don't think so. I think you covered everything.
Now, you also gave them instructions on how to order, etc. You just made sure, and that's the other thing, is there was no confusion. There was no confusion at all as far as how to place an order, the fact that these are the credit cards we we took, etc.
Yeah.
Correct? And your website link. Tell them about having to put another party in. Why?
Oh,
You had to,
sorry.
yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I actually had to enter this fundraiser as 2 parties because after we entered 113 orders, it no longer gave us the option to add another guest. So I had to sign up for another party.
Surprise, yes.
Home office
yes.
didn't know that was going to happen.
yes, yeah. It was wonderful. Yep. Yeah. I thought that was wonderful. Okay, let me see what kind of questions and comments we have. Let me see here. Janae says, hey ladies, seen the parking lot waiting on a hostess. Hey Janae. Let me see if we have any questions. Oh, good morning, Kim. We got a lot of people watching here. Okay, Michelle says, my mind is already getting some ideas, but can't wait to hear Laura's helping suggestions. Good. Yep. Is that the amount of the orders or commission you'll be donating? Michelle said, was that the amount of the orders or commission you'll be donating? The 10,000.
7,000 was the amount of the orders. Lemongrass donation would be $1,800.
$1,800,
around
yes.
$1,800 somewhere in there, and the rest was all just donations.
Donations, yeah. Amazing. Yep. Yes. Did everybody pay through your site?
No. Well, I had set up a event online. Forgot to mention this. And random people came through an order that didn't even know this family. So that's how they did through that. But no, this was all cash, checks, and credit cards.
So you had to enter the orders.
I had to enter everything and take everything to the bank.
Yeah. So you didn't even have to give them instructions on how to go to the website, how to place the order, anything like that. Listen, I'm here to tell you guys, I much prefer that. And again, it puts a lot of load on, and this is where it's the local. This is when you do local. If you are sharing this journey, the story with your customers that are, place an order. I need an order of a body polish. I have this website, this fundraiser open. Can I give you the link to that fundraiser? Then yeah, you drive people to that fundraiser. Use that link. When I did fundraisers in the past, I collected paper orders, and I gave them the opportunity to either put their credit card number down there, and people are really scary about it now, which I totally get. So then what I did is said, if you want to use credit card, contact me. I gave them my texting number and information, and I'll contact you personally for your credit card payment. And I did love that because it gave me a chance to actually talk to that person, just spend a little bit of time, asking her what she found interesting, I can't wait to see what you're buying. Oh my goodness, is this for you or someone else? So again, you're not going to have 30 churches you're working with. Mm-hmm. So yes, this was a lot of collecting money, but remember, Laura had a Laura at every single church. So Laura was represented at every single church. And that's why it's really important you discover who that coordinator is, who you're going to be working directly with. A lot of times we spend time spinning our wheels with somebody that says, oh, that's good, but I'm not the one that makes the decision. Okay, so you first want to say, could you give me the information? Could you point me to the person that would be the decision maker or makes the decisions on what fundraisers they choose for the year? Private schools. I did a lot with KinderCare, with daycare provider, a KinderCare daycare chain. I got one, and I happened to get her because I knew somebody's child that went there, and she was just raving about it. And I said, oh my gosh, give me who's the director. I'd love to offer them a Pampered Chef fundraiser. Well, as soon as I got one, then I called the other KinderCares and said, I'm doing a fundraiser for a KinderCare located in Gaithersburg. I would love to come and visit your local and talk to you about doing a fundraiser too. Well, they didn't want to be left out. Well, if that KinderCare is doing it, I certainly am going to figure out. So as soon as I got one, I could piggyback off that. It was like a popcorn one, and then this person, because I had some credibility. So so let me just go through a couple things that I want to share with you guys. that might, just give you some food for thought. So get your pens ready, because I'm going to go through this fairly quickly with this. The first thing that when I was searching for fundraisers, they said this, which is so important, guys. You never have a second chance to make a first impression. So if you are going in to talk about fundraising, representing Lemongrass Spa, get with your leader or get with me and make sure you are saying you're pushing all the right buttons, because you can't go back home and say, oh, I should have said this. And you don't want them to ask a question that you don't know the answer on. Because the questions are going to be all pretty much the same questions. So again, you never have a second chance to make a first impression. And let me see here. I'm just going through some slides. Somebody sent me slides on their fundraiser, and I thought it was perfect. Don't ask people to donate. Here we go. Instead, ask them to join or build. Appeal to the identity and emotion, not wallets. I'm going to say that again. Ask them to join or build, and appeal to identity and emotion, not wallets. Absolutely. Because you're always talking about who's benefiting. Push the purpose. What is the purpose? And Laura did a beautiful job letting everyone know in her letter what this fundraiser, who it was for, right?
Yes.
Rise above the fray by being transparent. Listen, by being transparent in exactly how the contributions are used and making sure all efforts are sincere. I'll go back to that individual that I did fundraiser for her adopting. It was for her home study. You know that Sharon's adopting. We're going to be helping the family with the home study portion of her adoption, which is going to be $2,500. If you talk to someone that says, I'd love to raise funds, you keep drilling down to discover what are these funds going to be used for and how much do they need. And then you break it down into a per family or per person amount, because you can't have this huge amount that people are like, oh my gosh, she'll never get it, I'm not going to worry about it. That's what they think. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Oh, let me see. Get specific by laying out different donation amounts and listing exactly what each donation will be contributing to. And when I did the fundraiser for that preschool, that church that did a preschool, it was a piece of equipment for their outdoor playground. And she said, all of it needs upgrading. And I said, well, we need to figure out what piece we want these families to participate and help us replace. It was not money, it was replacing. Let me see. Create a specific landing page, your website. You guys all knew that. Link to a page that visually shows how the donations are being used. This is where, with Laura's situation, it was a little bit different because they're not, embracing social media. But you guys know that most people are embracing social media. The one fundraiser I did for a little girl that was getting a kidney transplant, the mom snapped pictures of the hospital bed with her daughter. She chose the pictures, and we just kept posting it in the event with her journey. So we took everybody on a journey each day of what was happening that day with her daughter having a kidney transplant. At that time, Facebook Live wasn't available. Now it is. So that family can open up their life if they're interested, which why wouldn't they be? They want all their friends and family to be on this journey with them, to a Facebook Live, maybe meeting the doctor. I mean, I would have loved to have said, because she snapped pictures of the doctor. Wouldn't it be, huge for that whole hospital to be able to be promoted by a Facebook Live? We know how viral Facebook Lives go. So, so donors and potential donors like to know they're making a difference and love to see examples of their money in action. Again, that's where you do snapshots. And I don't know, Laura, if that's something you might want to think about, creating an album, a fundraising album with permission, where you can show the customer testimonials, where you might even be able to show, you know, pictures of the family, you know, let them share with you if they do have any photos that they want to help, you know, contribute towards this fundraising album that you create. Because I think that visual, because if there's nothing, you know, virtual that you can do with them, that's another way of representing your community, but also representing what others could see as hope in with your help with Lemongrass Spa Fundraiser.
Yes.
So that might be something you get permission to do. Just ask. You know, most nonprofits are not going to ask. They assume people know that they are there, that they are a nonprofit, and they ought to give. That is not the case at all. I mean, honestly, if you have individuals that are not on Facebook, they don't know that my Raleigh Rescue Mission is asking for grocery bags of food. They don't know that, because Raleigh, I don't see it on TV. Maybe it's because I don't watch commercials, but you know, again, you need to look in your area, your community, and you be the one that goes out and reaches out to them and asks them, do you need help at this time of year? Listen, after the first of the year, people don't think about giving anymore. Giving is part of the Christmas spirit. It's not part of, you know, the new year. People think more about themselves. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to get a new hairdo. I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to stop smoking. How about saying, let's talk about some fundraisings in 2018 for your organization? Yeah, I just think that could be huge. Create a 40-second, 5-second video about one highlight. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's just, there are so many, there are so many things. This individual sent me all these ideas. I love it. I love it. Anyway, so we'll spend more time on it, but I just wanted to take this time and let you guys get this same inspiration for the heart tug for fundraisers that I got from Laura, because she did a lot of work up front, and yet everything that she did was paying it forward for other people to know now that Laura is the fundraising guru. She's someone that you go to if you need help fundraising. And you know, that's huge for your community, Laura, because I'm sure they have needs, maybe not as extensive as your cousin, but they have needs.
Yes.
Right? And they know now that you're a capable person and that you could do this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm officially known as the Lemongrass Lady.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's your brand. There is your brand. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. Yeah. So what else are you doing to wrap this call up? What are other pieces that you still have to tie up to just finish out this fundraiser?
I actually went through all the orders, and anyone that ordered a Healing Elements balm or an organic skin and nail balm, I am making copies of the list of things that you can use them for and send them to those customers. I'll be making phone calls here the next day or two, just to check up and make sure they don't need anything else, make sure their orders come in okay. If they have any questions, to give me a call and help them out that way, since their orders will be arriving this week. So.
Now, did you get all the information on that customer, you know, anything that you can, like their cell numbers and things like that? So you have customer contact on each person because you entered the orders yourself.
Yeah, I have all the addresses and phone numbers.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Good. Okay. Anything else? I mean, I have tons of ideas, but I'm going to stop because I mean, my mind is like 200 people. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do this. And I mean, because what I'm thinking of, and again, this is really up to you, but you could really go to every single church and just, you know, have a moment where they give you the chance to say thank you, you know, if they have an event that you can come to and just be present at that event, just as I wanted to thank you, you know, because this is your cousin. Yeah. And so anyway, there's so many things that could lead to this reminder of the blessing to continue time and time again.
Yeah. There is a Amish community newsletter, whatever, that goes out once a week, and I was planning to put a thank you note in there. So and
put your photo, if you haven't decided that, put your photo along with that. So they put a face with the name, and yeah, and again, not to make it business related, but even a call to action where you say, I'm here to support you any way that I can. Here's my information. I'd love to have you simply just contact me to say hi and let me know how you're loving your products. So you are speaking to those that purchase the products, but you do want to speak to those that purchase the products.
Yes.
As a last, thank you type of way to say thank you. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Laura, I'm so glad I got to know you. Yes. And Laura's a team leader. You're a team leader, aren't you, girl?
Yes.
And we talked about Savannah.
We did.
Yes. And we talked about, I'm going to be traveling to do some training with Priscilla, her team, and you have something that day. I mean, you can't even see me that day. I mean, I'm not going to see you at leadership, and I'm not going to see you at Priscilla's event. Darn. Yeah. So you need to promote to director fast.
All right.
So you can then you bring me to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
There we go. That's how we'll get around that. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Brandy says, this is different. Definitely a rewatch. I love fundraiser parties and encourage my group to do them. It's so great to get their business going. So much amazing information here. Yeah, Laura's a gem. Yep. Lindsay, go back and re-listen to the video from the start. And you can just re-listen to the very first part, Lindsay, how it worked out. Maybe the first 5 minutes is the most, Lindsay. And then you'll hear Laura's description, because I don't think I can do it justice. Yeah. I will be watching this again. Good job, Kat. I think it's a rewatch. It's worthy of a rewatch for sure. Yeah, for sure. Fundraising album. Let me just take a minute. Let me digress a minute. Guys, whenever I did something significant with Pampered Chef, I always created a scrapbook. We called it a recruiting album, a booking album, and it was just an album that showed, as a family, what we were using our income for. Any trips that I had achieved, all the trips that I had achieved was in there. That was part of the recruiting. I would put a copy of my very first paycheck and told what I used it for, and new consultants could relate to that paycheck in that album. And customer testimonials, fundraising, I would snap pictures of, again, this was before social media. So, I didn't have anything, now I would go Facebook Live, but then we had an album and we would bring it to every single party. And we would lay it on the coffee table along with our host packets and our recruiting packets. And we would say, while we're waiting for the party to start, if you guys want to, peek at my photo album, and I never called it a booking or recruiting album. It was just my story. And people always were nosy. They wanted to see who you were. And, and I had pictures of my kids and things like that. So it was like what I recommend you do on your personal wall, that you do include information about Lemongrass Spa and how it's changed your life, what you've used your paycheck for, what your products are doing. Those are landing stories on your personal wall. You're not selling, you're sharing about you. And so yeah, that album was so significant in our business, for sure. All right, let's see. Yeah, Brandy wants to be the Lemongrass Spa lady. This is how you do it. You get in your community. Yep. Michelle's going to contact her friend that works at the Chamber of Commerce. Absolutely. When you said Lemongrass Spa donated $1,800, that was the commission. Yes, that was the commission. Yep. Yep. Yeah, Linda, if you missed the first part, yeah, guys, go back and just, you don't have to watch it. Just put your phone someplace where you can hear. You don't have to watch us again. Put your phone. Oh, you do want to go to the beginning because I told you about my lips and I told you about my blush idea. So you do want to go to the beginning because you want to hear how this lipstick is actually gloss. It looks like a matte lipstick because of what I did to make it look matte. And I think it's going to stay. I think it's actually going to stay a little bit. Well, it came off of my finger, but I think it's going to stay a little bit. I'm not a gloss person. Anyway, so yes, go back and listen. All right, guys. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you so much. You're a gem. You are a gem. A gem. I loved chatting with you before, and I love having you on this call. And I can't wait to have you tell me, okay, Kathy, I promoted to director, so come on out. I will.
Okay.
I will be there.
All
yes.
Right.
You only need one more, girl.
All right.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Love you girls so much. Thanks guys for listening. Appreciate you guys all being with us this morning. Have a great rest of your day. Alrighty. Bye-bye. Bye.